Hello my soccer universe. I have to say match 7 was probably the most enjoyable one of them all so far. We had plenty of crazy games. I mean, the tip of the iceberg was of course the 9 goals between Benfica and Barcelona, but we also had this momentous match between PSG and Manchester City that actually really meant something in the context of the competition, but there were also a few improbable comebacks in there as well. So really enjoyable stuff. However, as a result, we have plenty of teams already qualified, which kind of feels the same as we had after matchday 5 in previous Champions League campaigns. However, the way it got there is a little bit different and you have to still jostle for positions. It was a really good match day for Italian teams. Only Juve did not win and they got their customary draw. The two Milan teams got narrow 1-0 wins. Milan's maybe a little bit more shaky than Inter's. Atalanta very emphatic. And Bologna got a win over a German team. We'll talk about German teams in just a sec. Spanish teams also had a really good round, except for Girona, who lost to Milan, so the head-to-head goes to Italy. All the others got wins in slightly unlikely circumstances for Barca and Atletico. And I also have to mention the Dutch teams. Both PSV and Feyenoord got humongous wins. PSV advancing with an away win, and Feyenoord got one of the eye-catching results of the entire round. On the flip side, not a good round for the English teams. Yes, Arsenal and Liverpool win. However, City more or less on the way out, although they do have a good chance, and Villa kind of shedding their chances of moving on. Even worse for the Portuguese teams. Both Lisbon teams losing. Look a teeny bit shaky, although in both cases the chances of advancing are substantial. And then we look at the German teams. Yes, we had a win for Stuttgart, that was expected against the last place team. We had the first win for Leipzig, but Dortmund, Bayern and Leverkusen all losing. That was not in the program, and especially the losses by Leverkusen and Bayern are rather damning. And I don't even want to talk about the Austrian teams. Another negative are some really weird jersey matchups. I mean, Milan at home in the third jersey again against Girona, in their home jersey, where it looks at times more that Girona is like Milan. I just don't get it. I mean, I don't mind these jerseys, but play them when you need to, not when you choose to. That's what I always say. And they're not that pretty. However, they got them 3 wins, so at least something. But the other thing is, I saw for the first time ever that I can remember a 4th against 4th jersey matchup in PSG against Manchester City. Really odd. Really odd, didn't like that one. I think both teams should have played in their home jerseys there. And then another odd one was also on Wednesday between Feyenoord and Bayern, although this one I can defend. It was maybe not great contrast, the Bayern jersey, a little bit off-white against the red and white of Feyenoord, but at least Feyenoord played in their home kit with the black pants, so there were not really many options for Bayern to choose from, so I think they went with a reasonable one there. But yeah, I did not quite understand some of these choices. Even Inter at Sparta Praha was a rather odd one to see them in a Dortmund look. So most of these came actually on Wednesday. But enough of me with the preamble. Let's dig right in what Atalanta kicked off the Champions League week with an emphatic 5-0 win over Austrian champions Sturm Graz. Sturm could have taken the lead in the 11th minute, and a minute later they find themselves down a goal because they make an error playing out from the back. It's intercepted, ball goes to Zappacosta, who finds Retegui free in the box. It's 1-0. Atalanta dominated the game for large swaths of the game, as you would expect, and in the second half they reward themselves for that. They had a goal, but the Ketelare disallowed. However, then Pasalic and the Ketelare make up for that. It's 3-0, and down Sturm fell apart. Lookman and especially the Brescianini goal was more inept defending, and Atalanta cruised through. And Monaco also get a little bit the monkey off the back. After a few bad league results, they actually beat Aston Villa at home 1-0 through an early Singo goal. After Kera had his header after a corner saved, Singo actually taps it over the line. Then Villa had plenty of chances to actually get an equalizer, if not take the lead. However, also on the counter-attack, there was especially one by Minamino where probably he should have made it 2-0 instead of losing the ball. But huge win for Monaco. And we also had another Premier League duel, but this time the favorites from the Premier League go through as winners. Liverpool win against Lille 2-1, controlling and dominating game for most of the time. They take the lead through a beautiful shot by Mohamed Salah, where it was a counter-attack. They get the ball off Jonathan David. The ball goes to Curtis Jones, plays it into Salah, who with the first touch puts it into the net. As I said, plenty of more chances. Then actually Mendy gets sent off with a yellow-red card, and still Lille get the equalizer because the Liverpool defense is unsorted. Jonathan David can dust it off, but 5 minutes later Harvey Elliott gets the winner. It was a badly deflected shot, but it was overall the deserved winner. It's the 7th win in the 7th game for Liverpool, who look very much set to win this league phase. And then lastly, the less said about Club Brugge 0, Juve 0, the better. So let's leave it at that. Without doubt, this was the game of the entire league phase. Benfica 4, Barcelona 5. It was wild, it was epic, it was crazy. Any adjective that you want to throw at such a game, it probably fit. It was even befitting that the end came in the driving rain of Lisbon. The most happy person has to be Wojciech Szczesny, because he put Barcelona in a huge hole that they somehow managed to get out of and almost threw it away before they snatched the winner. One thing after time, in the first half, Pavlidis scored a hat-trick for Benfica. They had a 3-1 half-time lead. They scored in the second minute. Yes, Lewandowski per penalty equalizes in the 13th. However, then it's Wojciech Szczesny who just mows down Balde, allowing Pavlidis to run through on goal. And he also gives away a rather stupid penalty that Pavlidis then converts. However, this was not the only goal he missed. Trubin in the second half just kick out onto Rafinha's head. It goes into the net. What a slapstick goal. However, a few minutes later, Araujo, also rather slapstick. I think he wanted to not get Wojciech Szczesny involved, taps it into his own net. It's 4-2 Benfica in the 68th minute. You really think that Barca are gonna lose this one? However, then luck turns in their favor. They get a penalty. Lewandowski converts in the 78th minute. And then after a nice Pedri cross, Eric Garcia heads it in 4-4 in the 86th minute. And then you could see in the body language, Barcelona were lifted, whereas Benfica really tried to hold on. However, the winner for Barcelona came under hugely controversial circumstances, because there was a tussle in the box of Barcelona in the last minute of the game, where Benfica had 2 claims for a penalty, and I would actually argue that one was valid. It's not a must penalty, but I think you could see why Benfica then was so annoyed that this was not given. And in clearing it, Ferran Torres plays out a wide ball, but is so well placed in the path of Rafinha, who then just has to run on goal, step past the defender who had caught up with him, puts in the net. It's a 5-4 win, and then knee slide in the rain. Also, the teams really didn't like each other. There was a whole lot of controversy. This is a game that we'll be talking about, I guess, for a long time. However, it is the errors that made it so enjoyable. It's the conditions that made it so enjoyable. But it also tells you it was not a great game, because these errors, there were some real slapstick goals in there as well. Meanwhile, PSV got a huge boost of their chance of advancing. They had a 3-0 halftime lead. Luc de Jong with 2 in Flamingo, and the 43rd give them a rather good cushion. However, Flamingo is then sent off with a straight red card, and Jevena Zvezda can pull 2 back. However, they don't get an equalizer. Tuesday was not a good day for the German teams. Only Stuttgart got a win at last place. Bratislava a 3-1 win, leveling in the first half, scoring a brace. Then they trade goals in the second half, but overall it was all Stuttgart. And they have a chance of actually making it into the playoffs. However, PSG is looming. But it's Leverkusen and Dortmund that now are really struggling to probably make it top 8. Yes, they are through, but they got rather disappointing results. Leverkusen bossed the first half, had a fully deserved 1-0 halftime lead. Probably should have been more Hincapie in the first minute of first half stoppage time, getting that go-ahead goal after Barrios had been sent off in the first half as well. However, that actually flipped the script for Atleti, who suddenly were rallying around this perceived injustice, and with counterattacks and taking the game down to their level, they actually managed to get past Leverkusen. First, Griezmann wants to clear the ball, but a beautiful clearance played into Alvarez, who can run through on goal, badly defended by Leverkusen. He gets the equalizer in the 52nd minute. Then Hincapie himself is sent off with a second yellow card, and that really doesn't help you. And then in the 90th minute, it is Alvarez with a great move that gives Atleti the winner. As I said, in a game they again should not have won, but win they did. Dortmund suffered a 4th defeat in 2025 in the 4th game. They had a 1-0 lead through a Girassi penalty, but Bologna were already threatening and pushing, and in the second half it fell all apart within 2 minutes. First Dalinga after a nice Odgaard assist, and then Ealing Jr. tapped it home to turn the game around for Bologna, the first win for the Italians, to huge applause from the crowd. Dortmund really not looking good, another shambles in defense, and Nuri Sahin got fired the day after. In the 7th game, Leipzig finally get their win. It's a 2-1 over Sporting, and it's only the 2nd German win in this entire 7th match day. Leipzig were dominant for the first half. Šeško gave them the lead in the 19th minute, and a goal by Raum was disallowed for offside. Second half though, Sporting came out a little bit more, was trying to get an equalizer. Gyökeres actually does get it after a nice assist by Braganza. However, a few minutes later, Baumgartner plays to Paulsen, who gets it past the goal, and then it just rolls into the net because the Sporting defender cannot clear it. Leipzig actually had only pride to play for. However, at least they get the monkey off their backs. In the other early game, Shakhtar get their 2nd win of this Champions League group stage, a 2-0 over the sensational Brest team, and it was overall all deserved. They had already 2-0 have to win through Kevin and a Sudakov penalty. Brest tried to get back, but actually I felt that Shakhtar was closer to the 3rd one. Brest, due to other results, still qualify, and Shakhtar only have a minimum chance to advance. Arsenal though underline their ambitions for a top 8 finish with an emphatic 3-0 win over Dinamo Zagreb without overstretching themselves. Or in the 2nd minute, a Havertz cross is converted by Declan Rice to make it 1-0. They then control their opponents and strike in the second half. Havertz, much maligned, gets the 2nd goal, and Ødegaard in stoppage time makes it a resounding 3-0 scoreline. At the same time, we saw one of the shockers of the evening with Feyenoord beating Bayern 3-0 at home, meaning they're already qualified, and Bayern are now facing huge potential of not making it into the top 8. And it was a really interesting game because Feyenoord, who are not really used to it, actually sat deep and let Bayern come on to them and hit them on the counter-attack. And such a counter-attack was what gave them the lead through Jimenez. It was a really nice ball by Small that Jimenez then runs through on goal, and 1-0 Feyenoord. And then Bayern is pressing, however not creating that many chances. Actually, the best chance was a Stengs header onto his own net that just was tipped over the crossbar. And then it comes as it always comes. You give away a penalty just before the halftime break. Jimenez makes his 2nd goal. Of course, he's now wanted by Milan, but with these 2 goals, the price tag went up, I would say. Second half, Bayern, plenty of chances. I mean, the biggest one was missed by Leroy Sané, who from point blank range just hits the outside of the post. But it's not great chances, and Bayern just have a really hard time breaking down the defensive wall. And it comes as it comes. Jimenez runs through, the ball then comes to Milambo. Although Jimenez is fouled, he's waved on. And Ueda finishes the job, and it's 3-0. Rather disappointing for Bayern. Huge win for Feyenoord, who is through to the next round. Easily the result that had the biggest implications on Wednesday was PSG's 4-2 win over Manchester City. A game that PSG dominated. They even had more possession than Manchester City. I think it was something like 2/3 of possession for PSG. This is untypical for Manchester City. They already should have taken the lead in the first half. It was Fabian Ruiz who had a point-blank chance that didn't go in, but also a Hakimi goal was disallowed for a really marginal offside in the build-up as well. However, in the second half, within 10 minutes, City had themselves a 2-0 lead. First Grealish and then Haaland tapping it home, and you thought, oh, this is going to make now PSG nervous. City might actually see it home unless they concede soon thereafter. Well, that's exactly what happened, because Luis Enrique has observed that Dembélé might have a field day against this City defense, and that's exactly what happened. Barcola had a brilliant run just 3 minutes after the 2-0 by Haaland, finds Dembélé completely forgotten on the other side, and it was game on. And you could see it in the expression of the City players, how they suddenly were fearful. I think they had a shot of Kevin De Bruyne where he almost was crying, and I was wondering, is the City team really that weak? Yes, it is, because Bradley Barcola in the 60th minute had already equalized. So while City took 8 minutes to get a 2-0 lead, PSG also only needed 7 minutes to peg it back, and then it was all PSG and only PSG, and they get the go-ahead goal after a Vitinha free where Neves is completely forgotten on the other side of the box, taps it home, and later on Gonzalo Ramos adds a 4th, and this could have been gotten even uglier. There was only one team there that wanted to win, and that was PSG, and PSG now have a serious chance of advancing to the next round. City have now a must-win game at home against Club Brugge. I'm not sure if Club Brugge will be afraid of that trip. Celtic, remember the team that had the easiest draw, also booked their place into the knockout stages by beating Young Boys 1-0. This should have been way more, especially in the first half. Celtic missed so many chances. They had a Furuhashi goal disallowed for a foul in the build-up. They had a penalty that Engels easily saved. And then, as Young Boys are coming out, one in push at least for the first win. Probably they should have held on to the first point. They score an own goal through Benito. Maeda is then sent off for Celtic. However, no equalizer for Young Boys. The league phase may have been wobbly for Real Madrid, however they also qualify for the next round, although potentially not in the top 8. There's only a minuscule chance for that, beating Salzburg easily 5-1, and that last goal by Bidstrup that made it 5-1 could prove costly in their quest for top 8 potentially. While Salzburg tried to play nice with Real Madrid, Rodrigo and Bellingham really took them apart, especially the second goal by Rodrigo was so nicely assisted by Bellingham, and yeah, 2-0 at the half. Right after half, Mbappe and Vini Jr. add 2 more, and very late on Vini Jr. adds a 5th one. As I said, Bidstrup makes it 5-1. In a typical Inter performance, they get the 1-0 win that they won it in Prague against Sparta Praha. The goal by Lautaro Martinez after Bastoni assist was a really great one. I mean, from a very acute angle, he yanks it onto the crossbar into the net, and then Inter just hold on to that win, which means they have a really good claim for making it into the top 8. For the third home game in a row, Milan play in their third jersey at home in the Champions League and get their third home win. I guess these are the new lucky jerseys, however I really hated it. Especially when Girona play in their home jerseys in an away game and look way more than Milan, at least when you see them attacking. So this was a rather odd one to see. But yeah, Milan get the win, 1-0, go into the top 8, have a serious chance of actually finishing top 8, which after the beginning with 2 losses, you didn't really see coming, but you also knew that the backside of their schedule was not that hard. It started out actually badly, or did it? Emerson Real went down with an injury, had to come off, and on one side I was, yes, he will not be playing because I don't want him to play. I actually prefer Calabria over him, but on the other side this also means that his transfer to Galatasaray is probably not gonna happen, so yeah, I'm not sure. But Milan did create some chances. There was one where Rafael makes a run through, finds Theo Hernandez, and he just puts it over the goal. Now, I mean, it hits the top of the crossbar, but I think Theo's finishing as of late is really off. On the other side, Leao really put in a performance, especially in the first half, and he kept it after a brilliant pass by Benacer. He runs onto the Girona goal, then steps past the defender, although he could have already shot, but in order to get a better position, defender goes past. Makes it 1-0 in the 37th minute. It was a fully deserved lead at that point, because I think Musa even hit the post as well. However, just before the half, Girona had some good chances, especially Donny van de Beek, and Mike Mignon had to stand tall, and right after the half, I thought the Bayern Hill had gotten Girona the equalizer, but just his tip of the toe was offside. I mean, he protested. He was surely not offside. It was by that much. So yeah, a little bit luck for Milan. On the other side, I also have to say they probably should have made the second goal. And again, Theo Hernandez, either make sure that you hit the goal with your shots or find the free man in the box. There were plenty there on his one chance in the second half. On the other side, I cannot really complain because they routinely saw it out and it's a 1-0 win. Nothing fancy, but it's another 3 points and it really looks good for Milan finishing in the top 8, and this is probably what the best thing out of the entire game. If we look now at the current standings that you already saw shifting in and out, we see that the top 4 are probably set. I don't think that Inter will fall out, and even the next one look quite solid, with Atletico Madrid and Milan having substantial chances to finishing in the top 8. Then Atalanta, Leverkusen, Villa are the teams that are most likely to also finish top 8. There are small chances for Monaco, Feyenoord and Lille respectively. We also see, if we go to the second page, that the top 19 teams have all qualified, including PSV. Then there's Club Brugge that have a good chance of qualifying, even though they play City in the last round. But, they have enough points that might actually see them go through, because you see City has 8 points, Zagreb has 8 points, so it's only one of these teams that could catch them. So that's good for Club Brugge. Same thing for Benfica, PSG and Sporting. PSG though have the head-to-head against Stuttgart, where I wonder Isn't the point enough for either of these teams? So yeah, we might have to see. The last team that has a chance to get in is Dinamo Zagreb, but you know, it's very minuscule overall. And so we see already it's not much to play for. If we see here the expected standings, it's actually quite interesting because, you know, there's a little bit position jostling. But, you know, I can leave it up there for you to see. Best way to look at the expected standings is also in terms of the expected brackets. So let's do that. And when you look at it, in each line, the teams can be flip-flopped. So Juventus may play against Monaco or may play against Real Madrid if the expected table is actually identical to the final table. So you see, also Liverpool might be on the left side or on the right side of the draw. Same thing goes for Barcelona. So within each line, you see it flip-flopping. But it's quite interesting to see that, for instance, we have Barcelona and Real Madrid on a collision course potentially, whereas Liverpool, Juve, so the upper quadrant looks already quite interesting. I'm looking also at the two Milan teams who could end up on the same side at the moment. It looks rather favorable for Milan. A little bit harder for Inter with PSG and Bayern in there. That could be a really good one as well. Also like Arsenal Feyenoord against Sporting. So, you know, you see it's all a little bit up in the air, but it gives us a little bit more of an idea of how these expected standings might work out. Finally, we also had a few movements in the overall favorites. Yes, it's still Liverpool ahead of Arsenal, and then Inter move now up. Barcelona, they're way too open. I don't really see them winning. They're now level with Real Madrid, but only because they have the better position in the table. City fell all the way to 9th place. Really, really deep fall. So here are the final matches of the first ever league phase, and while we might pick out some interesting matches like Barcelona against Atalanta, it doesn't really have a much bearing. Barcelona will most likely finish in second place, and if Atalanta gets something in there, they may have a chance to finish top 8, but it's rather unlikely, I would say. I can boil it down to two matches if you would like. The first one is of course Manchester City against Club Brugge, must win for Manchester City. The second one, although I just said it might not amount to much, is between Stuttgart and PSG. This is a head-to-head. The winner for sure is through, but isn't the draw enough? We may have to see. Other than that, you know, pick your favorite matches. I want to pick out Brest against Real Madrid. Huge celebration in the north of France. I think that Lille against Feyenoord could be a tight one. Zagreb against Milan is the one that I'm probably most interested in. I also think PSV against Liverpool could be an interesting one. And Sturm Graz against Leipzig. It doesn't amount to much, but it's Austria against Germany. And I think Sturm might think that they could get another point at least. So that was it from me from match day 7. Looking forward to match day 8, although, as we said, it doesn't boil down to a whole lot. In any case, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. And I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye! Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!